cantar unos cantos juntos antes que pase, hermano, esta mañana. ¿Cuántos están alegres estando aquí esta mañana con nuestro Señor? Vamos a cantar. Está aquí con nosotros. Sabes, te amo, sabes, yo quiero conocerte más. Dios manda derrama de tu espíritu, envía hoy tu fuego, sana mis heridas, establece. Dios manda derrama de tu espíritu, envía hoy tu fuego, sana mis heridas, establece. Manda la lluvia, rocío de tu amor, llenando las vidas de la tierra, oh Señor. Derrama de tu espíritu, envía hoy tu fuego, sana mis heridas, establece. Dios manda lluvia, derrama de tu espíritu, sana mis heridas, establece, Señor. Manda la lluvia, rocío de tu amor, llenando las vidas de la tierra, oh Señor. Manda la lluvia, rocío de tu amor, visita mi vida, cámbiame, Señor. En este momento vamos a dejar a los niños que pasen a su casa. We're going to allow the kids to go to the class right at this moment. So if you want to sit down with these children. Mientras que ellos están pasando, nosotros aquí estamos preparando nuestras mentes, nuestros corazones en lo que Dios quiere para nosotros esta mañana. Dios te pedimos que nos dejes escuchar tu voz esta mañana. Déjanos que a nuestro corazón te reciba, Señor, lo que tú quieres. Gracias porque estamos aquí adorándote, Señor, y sabemos que estás con nosotros, Dios. Gracias. Manda la lluvia, rocío de tu amor, llenando las vidas de la tierra, oh Señor. Manda la lluvia, rocío de tu amor, Necesita mi vida, cámbiame, Señor. Necesita mi vida, cámbiame, Señor. Necesita mi vida, cámbiame, Señor.
Big announcement, un anuncio muy grande. Big announcement next week, la semana que viene, we're having, it's going to be the best morning ever because we're not only having Joe, no solamente vamos a tener los pancakes y los bacon and the sausage that Joe makes, but we're also going to have menudo next week. So next week, la semana que viene vamos a tener menudo, vamos a preparar menudo para todos, su pan de dulce, sus bolillos. Everything but the piñata. I can't promise a piñata, but everything else will be here for that. Vamos a empezar. Let's start with a word of prayer. And as I pray and as you pray, mientras que yo oro y ustedes oran, allow your heart, allow your mind to put the drama at work at ease. Deja que tu mente no piense en lo que pasó en el trabajo. Don't worry about the bills. Don't worry about anything. But allow yourself for the next few minutes, deje que los próximos minutos, that God speak to you. Amen. Que Dios habla tu corazón. Sometimes we go through stuff during the week, and sometimes God puts it all together on Sunday. Amen. Don't miss out on that opportunity. Not that the music is awesome or the speaker is great, but Dios tiene algo para ustedes. God has some words for you today. Dear Heavenly Father, Dios Santo que estás en los cielos, Lord, we just need you, God. Necesitamos, Señor. We don't deserve your love, we don't deserve your mercy, no merecemos tu amor, no merecemos tu misericordia, Dios. But you're a good God, Lord. I ask that you soften our hearts and that abras nuestras mentes and open our minds, God, para oír las palabras que tú tienes para nuestro corazón, to open our hearts to hear the words that you have for us, God. Yes, Lord, and we thank you for your Son. Gracias por tu Hijo. And thank you for this church and for this community. Yes, por esta iglesia y esta comunidad. En el nombre de Cristo Jesús, in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. Let's get started. Some of you guys noticed, some of ustedes vieron que tengo hoy mi camiseta bien pajadito and they see my shirt's all tucked in and nice. Some of y'all been asking if I got court. No, I don't have court later. This is what was clean. Y'all laughing, but you know there's no court on Sunday. Y'all know that. Okay. Empezamos nuestro estudio en el libro de Daniel, and we talked about how the book of Daniel was written in tribulation. When Daniel, the events that happened, cuando pasó lo que pasó en este libro, fue escrito durante tiempo de crisis en la vida de Daniel. So this isn't a book that was written like, oh man, things are so great, que bueno las cosas. No, este libro, this book was written when things were bad. And that's why it's such a good book for us, y por eso es un libro tan importante para nosotros. Because sometimes we go through trials, sometimes vamos nosotros por crisis. A veces pasamos nosotros por pruebas. Sometimes we go through tribulations. And this is a good book on how to deal with it. Y ese es un buen libro para explicarlo. So last week we talked about how Daniel stayed strong. La semana pasada hablamos como Daniel se quedó fuerte. And how he said, I'm not going to eat that meat because it's not going to honor God. No voy a comer esta carne, no voy a tomar esta bebida porque yo sé que no le va a traer honor a Dios. Y Dios honró su obediencia como milagro. God honored Daniel's obedience with a miracle. And the king came in, even though he had kidnapped these boys, and even though he was going to raise them to be their own, llegó el rey y les dijo, ¿sabes qué? Ustedes son tan inteligentes y tan sabios. And God blessed Daniel and speaks with intelligence and wisdom. So that's chapter 1. Now let's jump to chapter 2. Vamos a hablar del capítulo 2. And what had happened so far, y lo que ha pasado en este libro, es que el libro empieza 1 año, 2 años después de lo que sucedió con Daniel. This is about 1 or 2 years later that we jump into chapter 2. And what happened, lo que pasó, que el king Nebuchadnezzar, he was having a bad day. El rey, y le voy a pedir disculpas porque yo no sé cómo decir Nebuchadnezzar en español, pero ahí saben ustedes, ok, de quién hablo. And King Nebuchadnezzar was troubled. Y tenía problemas el rey. And he was anxious, and he was the most powerful man. Era el hombre más poderoso del mundo. But man, he wasn't sleeping right. No estaba durmiendo bien. Tenía temor. Estaba preocupado de su reino. He was worried about his kingdom. And chapter 2 starts, y capítulo 2 empieza, where he comes in, and he wakes up, and he realizes he's had a dream. El rey sabe que tuvo un sueño. And this dream, y ese sueño le asustó. It scared him. And he's the king, él es el rey, y tiene a todo su reino para afrontarle y para ayudarle. He has his whole kingdom to help him out. But he had this dream that scared him, so he calls all of his magicians, le habló a todos sus magos, habló a todos sus hechiceros, he called all the sorcerers, and he said, hey, look, I want the best of the best, come here. Les habla a estas personas y llegan. Y el rey le dice, this is all chapter 2 if you want to read it. The king says to these magicians and sorcerers and wizards and the fortune tellers and all that stuff, and he says, man, I had a bad dream. Le dice a estas personas, tuvo un sueño muy malo. And I don't know what it means, y no sé lo que significa. Y me dio miedo este sueño, this dream is scaring me. And so, he says to them, les dice, I want you to tell me, quiero que me digas lo que significa este sueño. He tells them, I want you to tell me what this dream means, because that's why I paid all his money, and that's why you got his fancy hats and everything, because this is your job. And so the magician, los magos, los hechiceros, the sorcerers say, oh, great Nebuchadnezzar, oh, tan grande rey, tell us your dream. Dime tu sueño y te voy a contar lo que pasó. Tell me your dream, tell me what happened, and we'll explain to you the situation. Because that's the thing about dreams, right? I mean, you can say anything. What did you dream about? You were riding an elephant, all that means you're going to have financial trouble. All right? You can just make up anything. Who knows, right? But Nebuchadnezzar, he was a weird dude. He wasn't right. El rey no estaba bien en la mente. And as we read the rest of the book, we'll realize that dude was pretty messed up. Y lo que él hace, and what he does to these people is pretty strange. Y lo que él hace, lo siguiente que hace es extraño. Imagine that you're a mechanic. Imagínate que eres un mecánico. Imagine that you have a shop, Armando's mechanic shop, and you get a phone call. Hey, Armando, I want you to fix my car. Hey, Armando, quiero que arregles mi carro. Y levantas el teléfono y dices, okay, pues tráelo aquí, bring it to my garage, and I'll fix it. But what if the guy on the phone, ¿por qué ibas a hacer si la persona en el teléfono te decía, no, I don't want to bring you my car, no te quiero traer mi carro, and I don't want to tell you what's wrong with it, no te quiero decir cuál es el problema con mi carro, pero quiero que me lo arregles, but I want you to tell me what's wrong with it, and I want you to fix it. You'd be like, man, get off the phone, DJ, you'd be hanging it up, right? But that is what the king did, eso es lo que hizo el rey. That's what the king did. He knew that these guys were a bunch of yes men. Supo que estos magos y hechiceros siempre le decían al rey lo que él quería oír. So he says to them, he says, you know what? Nah. Not only do I want you to tell me what my dream means, but I'm not even going to tell you my dream. No solamente quiero que me digas lo que soñé y qué significa, pero ni te voy a decir de qué soñé. So the magicians and the wizards, they're like, okay, that's funny, whatever. How can we tell you if you don't tell us what you dream? At least tell us the story and we'll make up something for you. And the king otra vez dijo, no. Dime, no solamente dime lo que significa mi sueño, pero dime lo que yo soñé. He tells them again, no. Tell me what my dream means, but first tell me what I dreamed. If you're so powerful and if you think you're all that and you've got connections with, all these gods and everything. And at that point, y a ese punto, the magos and the wizards, they knew they were in trouble. Because they knew they were making that stuff up. And they even got, it's pretty funny if you read it in the verse, they kind of become like a smart aleck. And they tell the king, Man, nobody can do that. Le dice el rey, nadie puede hacer eso. Estás loco, rey. You're crazy, man. You know what? And the Bible says that they tell him, not even the greatest king, the most powerful king has ever asked that. Ni el rey más poderoso ha pedido eso. And then they say something which is pretty funny, which is like, you know, you would imagine like a 7th grader saying to the teacher, because they say at the end of that verse, dice al fin del versículo, only gods can do that. And do you see any gods walking around? You know, only solamente los dioses pueden hacer eso. Y tú ves a dioses caminando. Oh, and that got the king mad. Y eso se enojó el rey. Man, he got mad. You don't get a king mad back in the day because he can kill you. So he says, ¿sabes qué? Okay, no saben, no me pueden contestar. You wise men that are the greatest of this and that. You know what? Let's kill all of you. Vamos a matarlos a todos. That's it. Y'all, you got jokes? You think it's funny? All right, come on. See how funny it is when I kill you. And that's where we're going to jump into the story. So if you want to put the first slide up, es donde vamos a empezar nuestra historia. The king has put out, el rey ha puesto una ley que van a matar a todos los sabios del Babylon. The Lord has decided that he is gonna kill all. The king has decided that he's going to kill all the wise men, and that's where we're going to jump into it. Chapter 2, verse 13, really quickly. So the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain. They looked for Daniel and his friends to kill him. Y se publicó el decreto de que matarán a todos los sabios, buscarán también a Daniel y sus amigos para matarlos. So Daniel's probably sitting there. Daniel está sentado. He's probably having some Eggo waffles or whatever. He's eating breakfast, and all of a sudden the guards vienen los soldados y lo agarran a Daniel y a sus amigos. And they grab Daniel. They're about to kill him. Daniel's like, whoa, ¿qué pasó? Wait. What did you do to me? What, were you going to kill me for what? And the Bible says, la Biblia dice que Daniel respondió en prudencia. The Bible says that Daniel responded in prudence. And he was a smart guy, and he knew how to talk. And if you want to imagine, maybe there's a room full of wise men, and everybody's screaming, and maybe there's guards all around, and they're about to kill him, and lo van a matar a estos sabios, and everybody's in here. Imagine the picture in your head. Everybody's screaming, begging, pleading, no, please don't kill me. But the Bible says, la Biblia dice que Daniel respondió con sabiduría. And he goes up to, what's the guy's name? Arioch, viene al capitán. And everybody's screaming, and everybody's yelling, Daniel, and he's a smooth dude, right? He's like, man, what's going on? ¿Qué está pasando? Y'all gonna kill me? Explain what's going on. Y el capitán explicó, and the captain explained to him, said, look, man, this is gonna happen. You smart Alex thought you didn't know what was going on. Now the king's gonna kill you. That's it. So Daniel, lo que dice Daniel, le dice al capitán, just give me a chance. Let me go talk to the king. Dame una oportunidad de hablar con el rey. So he says, yeah, go ahead. Because he's a smooth dude, right? He goes. So he goes, va Daniel, llega el rey, le dice al rey, and he goes up to the king and he says, man, why don't you just give me a little bit more time? Dame un poquito más tiempo. Now, I'll take care of it, man. You got these people, they don't listen to them. I'm your guy. Déjame yo apurarme de esto. So Daniel gets some more time. Daniel le dan más tiempo. And this is when the story, esa es cuando la historia becomes our story. Ese es el momento que esta historia de Daniel es algo que nosotros vivimos. Because at that point, he went up to the king, fue al rey, he talked to the king into giving him more time, el rey le dio más tiempo, and he walked out. Okay? Y salió del hogar del rey. And the reason this becomes our story, la razón que esto se hace nuestra historia, because the minute he walked out, el minuto que salió, Daniel had a choice. Daniel tuvo una decisión. Daniel had a decision to make. Because porque si esto era una película, if this was like some Bruce Willis action movie, this is when the music would start, and he'd be like, we have 24 hours to get out of Babylon, you know? And then they would go in the helicopters and all the stuff would come out. Si esta era una película, en este momento, Daniel iba a buscar cómo poder salirse de la ciudad. He had a decision to make, tuvo una decisión que hacer. And maybe Daniel, a mejor Daniel, if he wanted to, he could have gone to the other wise men, a mejor puede ir con los otros sabios, los magos, and he could have sat down and said, guys, we got to figure this out. We got to come up with a way to trick him. A mejor Daniel podía decir, tenemos que encontrar una manera de confundir al rey. And he could have schemed and he could have came up with a plan. Okay, you do this and I'll dress up like a werewolf and we'll jump around and we'll scare the king. Right? But that's not what he did. But eso no es lo que hizo. How about this one? The minute he walked out, el minuto que salió Daniel, he could have just gone to his favorite place, his favorite bar. A lo mejor puede ir a su esquina favorita, a la cantina. And maybe he could have had the attitude, y a lo mejor podía tener la actitud, man, this is it. Life is over. I'm just going to party tonight. I feel sorry for myself. Me siento mal que me pasó eso. Voy a buscar mi misericordia. Voy a buscar en esta botella. Or whatever the addiction is. See, when Daniel walked out, cuando salió Daniel, he had a choice. God has given me this opportunity. What am I going to do with it? And the reason this is our story, la razón que es nuestra historia, es porque hay veces que nosotros, cuando estamos en crisis, there's times when some of us, when we are in crisis, we have the exact same decision to make. Cuando nosotros estamos en crisis, cuando hay problemas en nuestras vidas, tenemos la misma decisión que hacer.
Amen.
How are you going to respond? ¿Cómo vas a responder? Maybe you don't have a king that's going to kill you. A lo mejor no tienes un rey que te va a matar. But let's say you've got the doctor's appointment coming up. Or let's say that you got drama at work. Or let's say that your house is broken and you don't know how to fix it. Y estás en ese momento where you don't know what to do. And you can look for, puedes buscar satisfacción en tu adicción. You can look for help in your addiction. You can try to scheme and fix it yourself. Tú puedes tratar de buscar cómo lo vas a arreglar con sí mismo. You can try to run away. Puedes tratar de salir y huir del problema. Or we can do what Daniel did. Or podemos hacer lo que hizo Daniel. You know what he did? He went home. Fue a su casa and he prayed. Y oró. And he got his friends together, and he got his family together, y juntó su familia, y juntó sus amigos, y dijo, we gotta pray for God's mercy. Tenemos que orar por la misericordia de Dios. Because at this point, that's the only option we have, is to cling onto the hope that God is merciful. And he went, y fue y oró, Lord, just your mercy on us. And that's it. He didn't try to fix it. He didn't try to hide it. He didn't try to run it away. He didn't try to drown it out with other stuff. He came and he came to God y pidió por misericordia. When we are in crisis, cuando nosotros estamos en crisis, cuando estamos en problemas, tenemos muchas opciones. Pero si hacemos lo que Daniel hizo, tenemos que venir primeramente, first of all, to God in prayer.
Amen.
And we don't pray that God, oh Lord, please kill the king so nothing bad happens to me. Oh Lord, I'm having trouble with that lady at work. Please let her get hit by a car. We don't pray like that. No oramos así. We don't. We want to, but you don't. Let's keep it real, right? But you know how you pray? This is what you say. Lord, I have nothing else but to hope for your mercy. No tengo nada más, Señor, pero clamar por tu misericordia. There's nothing else, God. There is no humanly way that I can get out of this, Lord. Give me your mercy. Dame tu misericordia. And then you also pray también oras that his will be done. That God's kingdom come. Que la voluntad de Dios sea hecha. And you pray, Lord, let my actions match up to what you want to happen. Lord, let my will, deja que mi deseos, let my will match up with your will, God. Jump to the next slide real quick. Because what that gives us is that gives us boldness. Eso nos da la fuerza para actuar. Because remember this, if we read on, Daniel prayed and God answered his prayer. And God le dio a Daniel la visión and he told him how to tell the king and he told him how to fix the problem. And the next day Daniel had again another decision to make. Otra decisión que hacer. Because remember, when Nebuchadnezzar, cuando el rey llamó a sus wise men, he called the best ones. Le habló a los mejores. Guess who he didn't call? He didn't call Daniel. No le habló a Daniel. Because in his mind, maybe he wasn't up with the best ones. Maybe he was still a kid. A mejor era sin educación. Maybe he was an uneducated guy. And Daniel not only had to deal with that, but Daniel also had to deal with the fact that if God has given me an answer, the next day he wakes up is it true or not? Or lo voy a hacer o no? See, what happens is that sometimes we are going to be called, a veces nosotros vamos a tener el llamado to do something that if we look at ourselves, si vemos a nuestra experiencia, and if we look at our experience, and if we look at our past, and if we look at who we are y qué hemos hecho, if we match just that, si vemos eso y lo ponemos a la tarea que tenemos que hacer, man, we're inadequate. We can't do it. I didn't call him. The king didn't call me. Dios no me llamó. El rey no me llamó. I don't have the education. Man, if people knew what I did in the past, nobody would want to talk to me. Pero si tú has venido a Dios, and if there's a problem in your life, and there's a crisis, and you have come to God, y has venido a Dios, and you have prayed for His mercy, and you have prayed that your will matches up with His will, and you are choosing to go into a situation to honor God, first of all, honrar a Dios primeramente, that should give you boldness to act. Eso te debe dar las fuerzas para actuar. If you are the head of your family, si tú eres la cabeza de tu familia, and you know that your family needs to come up in a way to honor God, y tú sabes que Dios te ha puesto tu corazón, que tu familia sea una familia de Dios, but your wife knows how you've been, your husband knows how you've been, and your kids know your past, and maybe you're embarrassed, a mejor te da vergüenza decirles algo, and you think, well, man, I'm such a hypocrite. I'm supposed to do stuff now when I was messed up my whole life? No, but God can. Pero Dios puede. And if God is calling you to be the head of that household, act in boldness. Hágalo con fuerza. And if God, si Dios te ha puesto en una familia, en un trabajo, God has put you in a place of work to where you know that you're a believer and that you know that there are times when you need to reach out in Christ's love, que hay veces que tú tienes que amar a otros en el amor de Jesucristo. But you're embarrassed because, man, they know me, man. They know how I used to party. They know how I used to get down. But if God has changed your heart and Dios te da un nuevo corazón, speak with boldness.
Amen.
Habla con fuerza.
Amen.
God has chosen you for that task. And you may be thinking, a mejor estás pensando, wait, no soy pastor. I'm not a pastor. I'm not, a deacon. I don't teach Sunday school. I don't have anybody that I'm called to lead. If you're a believer, si tú eres un creyente, if you're a believer, believe in Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Si tú crees a Jesucristo como tu Señor y Salvador, we are all called to make disciples of men. Todos estamos llamados a decir el amor de Cristo.
Amen.
Do it with boldness. Hazlo con fuerza. Next slide. El que sigue, por favor. So Daniel goes to the king. Daniel speaks in. Even though he was a pig, aunque Daniel no fue escogido, and even though Daniel wasn't the smartest, that in the king's eyes of a wise man and had experience, Daniel with boldness Daniel con fuerza le dijo al rey. And basically, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it, but basically the king had a dream, and el rey tuvo un sueño about a statue. The statue was cut into 4 parts, and, basically the story was that it was, it represented Babylon and Persia and Greece and Rome, and then a rock came out and the rock destroyed everything. Basically, básicamente lo que era el sueño is the dream was telling the king that Jesus Christ was coming. That one day Jesus Christ's kingdom would destroy all the other kingdoms. And so Daniel told this, le dijo eso Daniel, le dijo al rey. And this is what's great, y esto es lo que es importante. Because at first, porque primeramente estuvo el rey, no lo quería. First, the king was skeptical, kind of like, wait, you're going to tell me? You're going to tell me what my dream is? But then as Daniel started talking, pues luego cuando empezaba a hablar Daniel, he went from skeptical, the king did, to amazed. Fue que primero no lo creía y luego empezó que no lo podía creer, que Daniel sí sabía. Then Daniel y luego el rey told Daniel, and the verses as we're here, si lo quieres abrir rápidamente, in verses 46 and 48. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face and did homage to Daniel and gave orders to present him offerings of fragrant incense. El rey habló a Daniel y dijo, en verdad que vuestro Dios es Dios de dioses, Señor de reyes y revelador de los misterios, y que tú has podido revelar este misterio. When you follow God, cuando tú sigues a Dios, and when you act in boldness, y cuando tú actúas en fuerza sabiendo y confianza que Dios es tu Dios, people are going to be amazed. Las personas no van a creer el poder que Dios tiene. But this is when it's important, because it's not over yet. Because at this point is when we need to make sure que la gloria se da a Dios. We need to make sure that the glory is given to God. If God, si Dios ha hecho un milagro en tu vida, if God has done a miracle in your life, don't forget it.
Amen.
No lo olvides. The problem, lo que pasa a veces, el problema que tenemos is that sometimes we allow yesterday's miracles to fade into lucky breaks. Maybe a year ago, a lo mejor un año pasado, God saved you from something. A lo mejor un año pasado, Dios hizo algo en tu vida que fue un milagro. And that night, when you were witness to God's miracle, maybe it was great news, maybe His mercy saved you from something. You knew in your heart, tú sabías en tu corazón que era un milagro. And you knew in your heart it was a miracle from God. But what happens, and what we allow to happen sometimes, pero lo que pasa a veces, es que nosotros dejamos, as time passes, mientras que pasa el tiempo, that miracle starts to lose its sparkle in our eyes. Ese milagro ya no da tanta luz como antes. And what happens is that we start to tell the story, and we are sitting around with a bunch of friends, y estamos con amigos, and we start to tell about what happened to us. And as we're telling la historia, cuando estamos contando la historia de este milagro, they're looking at us, and we want to say, queremos decir, it was nothing but the mercy of God. It was a miracle from God Almighty that this happened. Y queremos decir, era un milagro de Dios. People are looking, pero están viendo las personas. And you know what they're thinking. Tú sabes lo que están pensando. So we say something like, yeah, I got lucky, man. Yeah, I got lucky. Yeah, you know, I handle my business. You know how it is. Sí, fue suerte que me pasó eso. Tú sabes que era un milagro. But if God has done that in your life, give God the glory.
Amen.
Dale la gloria a Dios. Let it be a memorial that you look back on whenever you're in difficult times, to be able to say, God was here and God is here now. See, Daniel, la historia de Daniel en este capítulo, Daniel in this chapter, la historia de Daniel en este capítulo fue uno de que él, aunque no era suficiente, even though he wasn't called, and even though the king didn't call him first, Daniel prayed, and Daniel gave God the glory, le dio la gloria a Dios, y Daniel oró. Let's go ahead and pray. Gracias, Señor, por este día, Señor, por las bendiciones que tú nos das, Señor, y gracias, Señor, por nuestra iglesia y nuestra familia, Señor. I thank you, God, for our church and for our community, Lord. Lord, I ask that you allow us to not let the miracles that you have done in our lives, que no deje los milagros que tú has hecho en nuestra vida, Señor, to fade away. Que nos olvidemos de lo que tú has hecho en nuestra vida, Señor. Lord, and that every day when we need to cry out to you in mercy, cuando necesitamos clamar a ti en misericordia, Señor, to remember, God, that tú eres grande, that you're bigger than our problems, God. And where men don't see a way, donde los hombres no ven una manera, Señor, tú sí tienes manera, Señor. That you will find a way, God. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Just for me, just like a hurricane.
all of a sudden I know that everything's fiction's close, but I know it's realize just how beautiful you are, how great your affections are for me. How he loves us so. How he loves us. How he loves us so. Yeah.